Hey everyone, Matt here from Dr. Running, and today we're going to do a full review of the Karhu Mestari, and then also talk about what stable neutral is and who this shoe might work best for. So the Karhu Mestari is kind of their premium cushion, daily training, walking, standing shoe. It's got quite versatile in that kind of upper echelon. It's been a really interesting ride for me because it's been a while since I've tried a Karhu shoe. I honestly spent 2 weeks walking and standing in this shoe every day, and I will say, for those people that are looking for that thing, this shoe does this extremely well. 33 millimeters in the heel of stack height, 25 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop. It feels a lot higher than it is, and the cushioning is just soft enough to be nice and protective, but not so soft that it's really mushy. It's been really great. It is really heavy, though, I have to admit. It comes in at men's size 9 is 12 ounces, women's size 8 is 9.6 ounces. My size 10 is 12.1 ounces, so maybe a little lighter. It's not the lightest shoe, but what it does really well is it rolls along and provides a solidly protective ride. It's not mushy. It's really nice and rolling. That's kind of something that Karhu is known for. They have something in here called a fulcrum, which is just a fancy way of saying a midfoot shank, and their geometries are generally really, really good. So a really nice posterior lateral beveled heel that transitions super nice whether you're running or walking, and then it is fairly stiff ride, but a very, very nice forefoot transition that's really best for easier efforts running, maybe some long runs if you can handle the weight, so longer standing for sure, and definitely longer walking. I'm going to say that again just because I spent like 2 weeks walking and standing in this shoe every day before I even started running in it. I've got about 20 miles in my pair right now. Durability is phenomenal. There's barely anywhere, but just know it's not a light shoe. It's really meant for longer efforts in terms of an easier effort. But once you run in it, it's really nice because I was expecting it to be much more clunky, but it's not. Again, Karhu rolls along super nicely, great for easier efforts. So really nice transition and rocker ride. The other thing I got to talk about, so what is stable neutral? Stable neutral really defines a shoe that is, by today's standards, neutral. It doesn't have any posting or traditional stability methods, but it still ends up being very, very stable. The Hoka Mestari Run is a great example of this. It has kind of a wider sole, which is always something really, really good that provides a little bit more of a stable ride. It does have something that adds a little bit more stiffness in a way that doesn't get in the way. It's not really meant for propulsion because, again, stiffness doesn't always add propulsion. It just adds stiffness, okay? In the right places, especially the midfoot, can be really, really helpful for certain people. And the other thing is it has these great sidewalls. So sidewalls, some people are calling these guide rails, stuff like that. They're really just parts of the midsole that come up on each side of the shoe and can help you be a little more centered. It's nice. Imagine like, a bowling ball and the rails that happen. Like, it just kind of helps keep you in the middle. Some are more aggressive than others. This one's pretty mild in terms of there's other companies that will make them very, very stiff. This one's not too bad, and it's got it on the lateral and medial side. Again, not trying to push you one way, but keep you in the middle. Be careful though. Some people don't respond well to sidewalls because they can cause some blistering. For me, I tend to respond really well. And the Hoka Mestari Run does a great job at keeping you centered and rolls you forward. The geometry is another thing can add to kind of a stable ride by keeping you moving in the right direction, which is what this should be all about. So definitely does a great job of that. If you don't respond well to medial posts or some of the more aggressive sidewalls or other methods out there right now, a stable neutral shoe like the Mestari Run might be a great option for you. Definitely competes with shoes like the Hoka Bondi and the several other max cushion shoes out there that are just also really good for walking as well. This one is no different. Upper is very Karhu. Basically, it means that it's very average in width. It's not a bad thing. It's not super wide. It's not super narrow. There is just enough room for a tiny bit of toe movement without feeling too narrow or too wide. Very, very average is how I could describe this, and really comfortable when it breaks in. Little extra volume, not too bad. Gusseted tongue is fairly stable. Didn't have to lace lock this at all. There's a really stiff heel counter in the back, so if that's something you like, hey, it'll lock you in a little better. If that's something you don't like, just be aware. It hasn't bothered me too much. But it's just a really solid shoe. Not meant for going fast, nothing crazy, just out there to just get some easier efforts and roll along. It's been really comfortable, and I was really surprised that I've liked a heavier shoe this much, but it's solid, it's consistent, and it's great for getting daily miles and walking in. Something to consider from a different brand many people in the United States may not have heard from, but definitely something to consider if it's fitting any of the boxes that I just talked about.